Hello, this is Decimal and welcome to Synth News. Today I want to talk about Nopia, which is a MIDI controller that literally blew up on YouTube. You've probably seen the video. It has over 4 million hits, and I just want to do an overview of what this device is all about, but also clarify a few things for those who might be thinking that this box can do more than it can do. And I also have some criticisms as well, so let's get into it. So just a quick overview, Nopia is a semi-modular MIDI chord generator. If you want to find more information on what this device can do, I would suggest watching the original video first and then coming back. This is going to be more of an analysis video. The first thing I want to say right off the bat is that this is a MIDI controller, and this is especially clear when you look at its outputs and inputs, which is literally just a USB. They are saying that at some point they want to make this into a standalone unit, but everything in this device in this video is going through a DAW, which is Ableton, which they show later on in the video. Of course, they don't show this at the beginning, but for those of you watching, you might think that this is a all-in-one box. It is currently not. They do have future hopes to make it all-in-one sound box, but no, it's just literally a glorified MIDI controller, at least at this moment. It does have some interesting concepts, but I want to emphasize the style over substance and functionality. The keys look a little weird to me. I don't know what the keys are all about, and the two buttons for the bass it's fine. I think it's pretty cool. Another thing I want to mention though is that the arpeggio, my question is like, how do you manage the arpeggios? What type of arpeggio is going on? I know on other MIDI devices you clearly have like a little indicator that tells you if you're going up, down, random, etc. So I just don't understand, with nothing in the interface, is how do you manage these arpeggios? Not having any labels is an interesting style feature, but can be a challenge for people who are new to MIDI devices, because it might be difficult to remember what buttons and what switches do what. Of course, they might have like a handy guide. I would highly suggest having a handy guide next to it, because it will be very confusing for people. Like, I am a little confused as well. Like, what does this knob do right here? I don't know. Style over functionality. This is something that you know, designers need to play with. So I don't know. It might work. It might be super intuitive, or it might be confusing. So it's just also like when you're in different modes. Like the joystick over here. Like if I want to switch it to a different mode, do I use the 3 buttons at the top? Like, how do I know what buttons do what? It's just a little confusing not having anything labeled onto the device. Like these switches here, like what do they do? I just don't know. The no din in, the no din out, the no stereo in, no stereo out. It's like I don't think there's any effects on board. Like this is all concerning for me, because it's definitely not a standalone unit. Like you need to plug this in to a DAW, or else it's essentially rendered useless. And that's not necessarily what everyone is going for. Of course, they have like a pipeline later on that will change this, but they also have like a Xbox controller stick. Probably has to be remapped in your program. They have a slider and they have a pitch wheel. If you guys saw my video on the chord machine, this is giving me similar vibes to the chord machine. I'm pretty much not sold on the chord machine either. I think that there's like room for improvement in both of these devices, but I feel like the hype for this is like insane. But also, like, I know it's a prototype, but I see some things that concern me about the build quality. For example, the back of the keys here, I don't know what's going on here. That concerns me a little bit. At the top of the box, when you're looking at the overview shot, this corner here leads me to scratch my head a little bit. And also when this Xbox joystick is moving around, I can see, like, peer into the synth. So this, I know it's a prototype, but still, like, you're making a video it's going to be seen by 4 million views, including me. So I'm going to be I'm going to be looking at this stuff and seeing it. Also the slide, maybe putting a little knob on the slide might make it easier to move. You gotta also, like when you're designing stuff, you gotta think of some people that might want to use it, might not have like the greatest like dexterity in their hands. It could be an older individual, it could be an individual that has like, I don't know, it's always good to think about users of all walks of life. And I think maybe just throwing a knob on that slider thing might make some people's life a lot easier. I don't know, these are just like my first impressions. I just think that, I hate to be like super critical on this device, but like, I think the hype train is like so hype, and it's like when you realize it's going through a DAW, it's like, dude, you can like, there's so many MIDI controllers that can do different things. Of course, this is like a fresh take on a lot of stuff. I do like the concepts that are happening in this, like the bass playing the root note is pretty interesting, but my question is like, do I have to plug this in and then map all these settings? Do I plug it in and it just works? Like, these are things they don't go into any of the technical aspects. It's just like an early announcement. I'm also curious about the price. There's no price point. Is it gonna be on Kickstarter? Like, we don't have any of this information so far. Also, like, are the knobs wobbly? Is the build quality metal? Like, these are all things that I'm curious about. I want answers to, which I don't have. I do think some of this is pretty interesting, but it also questions me. Like, he said something about in the video that they don't have anything that like can do what this can do, and I'm like, hold up. The Noodler has MIDI in, MIDI out. It can play the root note. It can do a lot. So when they say that, like, and it does it all automatically and generatively too, which is this unit can't do. So I would definitely, if you guys are interested in this, you should look into the Noodler. It's a different, way different workflow and different inputs. It's a new way to think about how, like, to play notes. But at least with the Noodler, everything can be DAW-less. So there's an advantage of that. Hope you guys enjoyed my long rant about or my first impressions. I do think it's really interesting, but I also think that, like, for 4 million views, the hype train, we have to be a little critical, especially because, like, we don't have a price on it. Once we get a price, then we can dive into it a little bit more. So yeah, thanks for watching. Peace out.